And we're live.
Good evening, sunshines. We are reporting to you live from the same place as we always do, but in a little different way today because my AC is broken and it is 102 degrees in here, and Adam has already sweat through his shirt. So and I will say, I spent most of my young life living places that it was this hot all the time, and Adam is a princess. But also, even I am quite uncomfortable right now. So
it's quite hot in here.
I mean, also, let me just give you a little more context too. This is my office, which is inside of a black metal barn, in case that gives you any indication of what's going on right now.
Cool. Yeah, so let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it.
This is a live Q&A.
I think they know that. They're
on
here.
Gardening. Yeah, let me finish the sentence.
Okay.
This is I have to remember not to pause, I guess. This is a live Q&A, garden related. So please, if you have any questions on your garden, please start dropping in the chat. We have a moderator today. We have Cam from Four Brothers Farm. Go check out his YouTube channel. It's a really cool homesteading channel. And we're good friends with Cam and his wife, and so go check them out.
Also, can we talk about why you're having to hold your microphone?
Because well, first of all, I'm just a mess because I'm sweating through this shirt. But second of all, this shirt is like, I tried to do it and it just looks kind of sad.
It does look a little sad. I think it's pointing the wrong direction, but you can hold it. Just make sure not to fidget too much.
It's okay. Look good, feel good.
Look good, feel good.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. And why don't you start off with some quick fire garden tips? So we are in almost the middle of June at this point. Why don't you give us some...
I feel like you just cut off 10 days of my June experience, but okay.
Yes. It's flying by. Almost Alexander's birthday.
Yes, it's true. Our son is about to turn 1 year old, and it feels like a month, and that feels very unfair. And a lot of the things that I was like, like as soon as, I've recovered from the birth and like things get back to normal, I'll just get right back on that. And I was like, surely that'll take like 1 to 2 months. And here we are, the 1 year anniversary of his birth. And I feel like I'm I'm further behind, but also ahead in the important stuff, which is Alexander's about to walk. He's talking a lot. He's so cute. He's so great. Actually, we were going to have him join us tonight because Grandma is here with doing a rescue mission right now, because as two self-employed people who with no other childcare, we were drowning a little, and we called in Grandma Rescue 101. 911, whatever that is.
Anyways,
okay. Fire hose.
It's the middle
tips.
of June.
Middle of June. What do you need to know as a gardener?
Yeah, give me your best tips for this time of year.
Okay. First and foremost, I think very few people are thinking, like, everyone's really excited to be planting their garden, to be seeing things growing, whatever that is, but especially if you're, a few weeks behind us or even months behind us in growing seasons, you're still thinking about, okay, like, what seeds am I going to put in the ground and what am I going to do? And in that regard, or even if you're at the same time as us, the miss that I think a lot of people miss when they're planting their gardens is thinking about, okay, I'm excited to put this in the ground. I'm excited to see it grow. Now, what am I going to do with it? So the biggest thing, I think, right off the bat is to make note of the days to harvest for everything that you're putting in the ground. So even if you went to the, the nursery and you bought starts and you're putting those starts into the ground, hop on Google and look up how many days to harvest is this plant. And also, maybe even just help me decide how many days it was already in the little seedling pot before I brought it home to transplant. Because for a lot of people, a lot of people aren't gardening at the same scale necessarily as us. And so if you only have a small section of your garden dedicated to carrots, for example, and you have maybe like 12 carrots actually like had a good start and are doing well, it's really, really, really disappointing to then pull one of those carrots because it looks ready on top and then realize that it was just this little big and you've just lost 1/12 of your harvest. And the thing that can help you avoid those kinds of mistakes, or even just things like cabbage, it's like, how do I know when to like let the cabbage keep getting bigger? Or when is there a law of diminishing returns where I'm going to open up that cabbage and it's going to look like the turkey on Christmas Vacation where it's just like, and there's nothing inside. And all those things, like the thing to look at is how many days to harvest. So about what time window can I expect this to be ready to pick? And then if you've waited enough days for your carrot and you pull out a tiny little non-carrot that has beautiful leafy greens up top, you know that you had too much nitrogen in your soil, because carrots are a root vegetable and they need things to help them root instead of nitrogen up top. Are you about to cut me off?
I'm going to jump in and let's jump to some QA, and then if you have more, we can jump in.
Intersperse them. Okay, great.
I have visions of falling behind like we did last live stream where there was like 55 questions and we were answering like one every 5 minutes.
Did I or did I not actually catch up?
Kind of. We did pretty good. We did good. We did catch up.
Hit me with some quick questions.
All right. Okay. Dion Parrish asks, what do you do with your strawberries in the winter?
I have already turned them into jam, and then I eat that jam all winter long. Just kidding. The plant, I assume, is what you're talking about. And in that, it really depends on what growing zone you're in. So we are in a growing zone that will permit us to overwinter our strawberries if we mulch them well. And so what I like to do is I like to cut off all that extra foliage, and then mulch them really well, and then let them come back in spring. That said, I am changing my approach in my own garden. So if you've seen my mini, 5, 6 years, 7 growing seasons so far, where you've seen me with my strawberries literally everywhere, and I'm using them as basically like weed prevention. I am still going to keep the strawberries for weed prevention because they do great at that. But for my harvestable strawberries, I am now going to do more of what I have also been doing, which is harvesting some of the crowns in the fall, banding them up in groups of 25. So I've cut off all the foliage, I've shaken off all the dirt, and I put them in moist sawdust in cool storage over winter. So then I have strawberry starts just like you would get them from a strawberry dealer or a nursery, I guess, as bare roots to plant in the spring. And so did you feel like that answered the question?
Yeah, that's great.
Good.
We have a poison ivy question. Skeptically asks, help, my backyard is infested with poison ivy. Sorry, I should probably talk to the mic. What can I do? I live in West Tennessee.
Okay. So poison ivy is unlike a lot of the weeds that we talk about being good indicators about what's going on. What poison ivy is often a good indicator of is that our soil is disturbed and unhealthy and there's not enough good stuff growing in it. So first, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to like pull it up by hand probably, but that means if you have an allergy to poison ivy, get some rubber gloves, do everything you can to pull up everything from the roots as much as possible, and then throw those plants away. You can mess around with vinegar and salt and all those things, but like it's not effective. And anything that the oil gets on is then now a carrier of that allergen. And so what you absolutely do not want to do is pull up all those plants and then toss them in the fire, because then you're aerosolizing all of that oil. And that can actually lead to a more severe poison ivy allergy. So as crappy as it is, you either have to pull it or you have to like solarize the entire area, which means basically putting a tarp down and leaving it down long enough to kill literally everything beneath, and then plant something that'll grow really fast and outcompete it when you take that tarp up. So after 6 weeks at least of hot sun on a tarp to kill everything below, then planting something like clover or something else, or rye or anything else that's going to come up really, really quick. And the good news is once you've gotten rid of it or you're starting to get rid of it, it will actually, like, it is one of those things that you do have to kind of stay on top of, but it is actually possible to get rid of it.
You got some stinging nettle today when you're reaching for something, didn't you?
I did. I actually am not allergic to poison oak or poison ivy, which is amazing because I feel like I have really sensitive skin sometimes. But
oh yeah, you got good.
Yeah, I got hit really hard with some stinging nettle today. And the funny thing is, like, I mean, we grow nettle. It's like it's something good that you want, but probably just a side effect of all of the lazy gardening, letting things lazy. I had some unexpected nettle today that I reached my hand into, ironically, into a whole group of strawberries, and I was like, "Oop, that got me." There's an easy fix for that though, but I just didn't do it because we were in the middle of filming.
River Chew asks, "How do you keep Tree of Heaven under control? It's popping up everywhere."
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's
Tree of
everywhere
Heaven
here too.
is highly, highly invasive, and it is something that, again, you want to deal with from the root issue, literally and figuratively. And I would, like, there are extremely few instances where I would ever recommend actually using an herbicide, but cutting the Tree of Heaven down and then injecting the root with it's like trypto something glyceride is basically the only way to control it. And because it's so invasive and also so pervasive here in Tennessee, it is like, I don't know any way around that, but like, glove up, suit up, protect yourself. I hate herbicides. I would it's not the answer, except that for something like that, it is legitimately the only answer. However, the good news is it's an injectable, not a sprayable. So it's not like, getting aerosolized, but yeah, it's no joke.
This next question kind of makes me laugh because we were literally just talking about this today.
Oh, I love to hear this. Actually, I need a visual aid for this to just talk about this a little bit more really quickly.
Okay. Literally not 2 hours ago, we were in the garden just talking about this.
Okay. So funny story. The first answer is, do you know anything about peanuts? The first answer is basically no, which will be self-evident as I tell this story. Be careful about the fact that that's really loud next to the mic.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I know anything about peanuts? Yes and no. The thing that I do know is that you can grow them in a lot of the Southeast and also lots of other places. Like, you might be surprised how many places it is actually possible to grow peanuts. But therein lies a funny tale. Because this year, for the first time, I remembered that you can actually grow peanuts here. And I am motivated. Well, I was motivated to grow peanuts because most of the peanuts, like, if you're eating peanut butter, even organic peanut butter from the store, not to be a fearmonger, but like, you're eating mold. The way that peanuts are processed and everything, like, there just is an inherent amount of mold that is in it. So like, the thought of growing my own peanuts, because we live in a place we can, and then making my own peanut butter was very enticing to me. So I went online and I bought peanut seeds. Now, I am fully aware that just like acorns being the seeds of an oak tree, that peanuts were in fact the seed of a peanut plant. But I guess I had seed potatoes or something on my mind. Anyway, I went and got peanut seeds. This was $7.99. And first of all, they did not say that there was only 7 peanuts in the package. So that's some false advertising right there. But furthermore, when I received these 7 peanuts and realized that, like, I mean, unlike, you can plant 1 carrot and let that carrot go to seed, and you'll get 17 seed packets worth of carrot seeds from that 1 carrot. So I guess I just didn't assume. I assumed that someone wouldn't try to sell me 7 peanut seeds for $7.99, literally the cost of a jar of peanut butter, which, by the way, is made of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of peanuts. Anyway, for $7.99, you can also get 2 pounds of raw unroasted peanuts, which is the exact same thing as peanut seeds. So if anyone here is like a real hustler and is looking for a new business idea and doesn't have any scruples or morals or anything else, go ahead and buy yourself a bunch of tiny little packets and then buy 2 pounds of peanut seeds, aka raw unroasted peanuts, and then sell them for $7.99 a packet to idiots like me. All that to say that growing peanuts is actually great. And also, let me just further say that I did, in fact, plant some peanuts. And it turns out that I've seen adult peanut plants. By the way, if anyone's unaware, peanuts don't grow on trees. They are not actually real nuts because they don't grow on trees. They grow on the ground. So anyway, I have seen adult peanut plants. But I had never seen a peanut sproutling, if you will. And so I planted all these peanuts, but of course I have the memory of a fruit fly. And so I forgot that I had planted them. And the peanut sprouts, it turns out, look exactly like purslane if you're not looking very closely. And purslane grows everywhere here. And I'm constantly like, it's a helpful thing, but like not that helpful for what I'm doing. Anyway, I accidentally plucked my my baby peanut plants.
You weeded them?
I weeded them just absentmindedly while I was talking on the phone the other day because I was planting a bunch of asparagus seeds in the same bed that I was like, oh, I should plant peanuts here because the asparagus seeds are going to take a long time to grow. But then I forgot I planted them. Anyway, good news of great joy. I have lots more peanut seeds to plant. So thank you for asking about the peanut question, and I hope I answered it. But do plant them for fun. Also, not to ruin your fun, but also just like hop on YouTube later and look at a video about what you need to do to process those peanuts, and you will be laughing along with me. And that will probably be what makes this story
it's a lot of work.
It's an insane amount of work for like so few peanuts.
Like a PB&J.
Like one sandwich worth of peanuts for hundreds of hours of work, which is actually, you know, my MO. So
that's great.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening to my TED Talk about peanuts.
Let's see. Okay.
While you're looking, may I just take this moment to bring us to the sponsor of this video, Redmond, which has kept us hydrated. I don't know if you noticed, but when we started just 5 minutes ago, this was full of ice and it is now melted. And Adam's shirt was once a beautiful dry thing and it has now melted as well. So it is very important for mental sharpness, general health, literally everything. Like, I mean, I'm breastfeeding our son right now. Staying hydrated is very important, and I am not good at doing that without electrolytes. I myself love the kids grape relight that Redmond makes, but if you're going to drink electrolytes, which I think that actually pretty much everyone should, because generally speaking in the summer we're sweating out more minerals than we can actually get back. So we should be using electrolytes. But if you're going to do it, use the right kind of electrolytes. I've done a lot of research about electrolytes and salt and things, and I'll tell you right now, some of the other ones that you can get, LMNT, not to name names, but like, you don't want that salt in your body. You do want this salt in your body. There's a reason that we work with Redmond that, yeah. So stay hydrated, friends. Stay salty in the right possible ways.
Stay salty. I love that.
I mean,
that's great.
Yeah. So thank you, Redmond. If you have any interest in being in better hydration, or by the way, better animal health for your livestock, better soil health, which is basically the only thing that matters when it comes to lazy gardening. So getting soil tests, doing stuff, check out Redmond. There is a human one that has all the stuff for your kitchen. My very favorite seasoning salt, plus literally the salt that we use for everything else in our cooking. And then there's also a livestock version and a soil version. So check them out. If you use the code AnimalTrades, you'll get a discount and free shipping often. So, you know, did you find another question during that?
Thank you to Redmond. Okay. Kevin Kelly on Facebook asks, Broadforks, do you like flat tines or the round tines? One company advertising they use round and claim they are superior. The others seem to be more like blades?
I am so excited that you asked this question because ironically, I've been looking for the right avenue to talk a little bit more about Broadforks. Okay, so first and foremost, there is one Broadfork on the market that you should buy, and it's by the Mindful Farmer. There's 1,000 reasons why, but I have used every kind of Broadfork that exists. For those that don't know, we do no-till gardening, which means that you never put an electronic tiller in your garden. But there's a lot of situations where you do need to like get something deep into the soil and then lift that soil, but you want to do it with as little disruption as possible. And the way you do that is with a tool called a Broadfork, which looks a lot like a very, very robust hay fork or pitchfork or potato fork. And anyway, all that to say that there is, I mean, even the cheap, crappy ones are insanely expensive. So if you're going to spend any money, spend it on the right thing. And the Mindful Farmer Broadfork is far and away the best on the market. So check it out.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, Mindful Farmer on YouTube.
He does have a
And he
YouTube
has
channel,
a-
but
and
like
he has
he
a
makes
website as well.
he's an engineer. He's a farmer. He was a commercial farmer who is also an engineer who also happens to be an inventor who is also now like he's done everything kind of like the backwards way. He did it commercially to learn everything to teach beginners how to begin from the right way. And like, yeah, his mindset and the way that he uses his tools and the things that he's thought about as he's designed them is brilliant.
Okay, you're gonna like this next question. I'm gonna put a little bit of a cap on you though, because I feel like we could talk about this for.
Oh, this is the next 3 hours. I just read ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Lauren Schmall asks, we are in the same phase of parenting as you. What are you guys thinking in regards to stewardship, inheritance, and raising kids who value the land and creating a multi-generational homestead?
I love that question so much. And there's obviously, as Adam already said, so much I could say about it. But here's the thing. The hope and the goal is to raise our kids, hopefully kids, right now currently one, to understand and to value being a good steward, to, in whatever capacity, take care of what they've been given and to use it well and to leave this world better than they found it. I highly value everything that we do here on the farm, and it would be my greatest joy if we can raise Alexander to want to stay and to do it with us and to grow old with multiple generations here on the farm. But it also, I'm not like putting all my eggs in one basket and just like leaving whether I feel like I've succeeded or failed as a parent on whether he wants to stay and farm or not. Because, I mean, he's half of me and half of him. And though we are here together now and Adam absolutely sees the value in what we're doing, there's there's other ways that you can be a good steward and all those things. So like I would love it if it all comes full circle, but it's not gonna like ruin my identity or make me feel like a failure if Alexander doesn't want to follow in our footsteps, because every kid is so unique, and like every experience that people have. I mean, like if my family is any evidence, you can have a whole bunch of kids that have been basically raised the same way that end up living wildly different lives. And yeah,
I agree. I think that's well said. Okay. S. Stephenson asks, is there an easy way to test mulch, hay, or manure for herbicides before you use it?
Absolutely there is. And this is a fast answer for you. Plant some beans and see if they grow. Because first of all, mulch is very unlikely to, like, unless it's, bagged mulch that you're buying at a like home center. Hay and manure are things that you do want to test for, but the thing that would be most likely to be in it would be a broadleaf herbicide. And it's very easy to test whether something will grow in there or not, and that is, or whether there's herbicides present, and that's to plant a broadleaf plant in it and see if it will grow. So plant some beans in it. What I do is I fill a water bottle with hay and water, and then I use that water to water the bean, or I, like put some manure into this, mix some of the manure that I'm maybe worried about into the soil. And if the bean grows normally and doesn't get all crinkly, then it's no herbicides present. And if the bean doesn't grow, then don't put it in your garden.
I love it. You want that one or? Meh.
Not. I mean, yes. Why not? We'll do a quick thing on that.
Actually, no. Let's do this one. How about this one?
Sure. I didn't see, but yes, great. Oh, okay. Camellia sinensis. Sinensis. I am highly dyslexic, so the Latin names are always a problem.
So yeah, I want to read the question.
Yes.
Some people are just listening. So Tom Gleason asks, great channel. Any experience with growing the tea plant?
Yes, I have so much experience killing tea trees. You wouldn't even believe it. But I also have success growing them. So there it is. Yes, we love Camellia sinensis, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. It is a little like it's like a lot of I was going to say a lot of plants, but that's not really helpful. It's like a lot of kind of more high maintenance bushy things where it likes to be in the shade and not in the hot sun. And it likes to have moist feet, but not wet feet. So it needs really well draining soil. But it wants to be in like partial shade, but getting enough like partial sun that it is happy enough to keep making solar panels for the first like 2 years of its life. And then after that, it kind of can do its thing. But if you're starting from like little tiny starts, it's really tough to get it going in our climate, in our conditions, because it's really easy for it to basically just get, like, for lack of a better term, sunburnt and just give up. But I will say that if you have had a plant that has given up, don't give up on it quite yet, because a tea tree can actually lose all of its leaves and still come back from that, as long as it hasn't had its feet disrupted too much, or it's, you just burned it because you thought it needed a ton of nitrogen and you lit it on fire from the inside out.
I just want to say Annie is very knowledgeable.
Well, thank you.
It's very impressive. Also, thank you to Four Brothers Farm for moderating this live stream, and then also thank you to.
I'm just gonna remind you that this is a microphone, so like hold it in one angle. Their sound is gonna be going. I
just complimented you, and you're throwing shade about my mic.
I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm trying to help you succeed.
I think that you're lifting yourself up at my expense. Okay.
I am not intending to do that. I literally just am. I'm thinking about the gentle listener and their earbuds right now, since I spend 100% of my time listening to podcasts in my earbuds. And then I'm like, ah!
I love it. Okay. Thank you to Four Brothers Farm for moderating this live stream, Cam. And then also thank you to Redmond for sponsoring. Okay.
I really did not try to throw shade at you.
I'm just teasing.
After a compliment.
Joshua Hudson asks, can you use chicken coop straw for your fertilizer safely? I like that question.
I also love that question. And the answer is yes, but In fact, I actually suggest that everyone who wants to use straw in their garden, because straw is a fantastic mulch in lots of ways, but the problem with straw as mulch is that it has tons of grass seeds in it, and so you want to give it to your chickens to pick through it first so that there's no seeds in it, which is very helpful. But the thing that will happen is if you give it to your chickens or you use it as bedding in your chicken coop, is that they'll poop in it, and chicken poop needs to be composted before you use it in your garden. But like, don't hear me say compost and be like, oh no, I missed my boat for this season, because you can create like literally the best compost you could possibly have for your garden in 18 days, like very reliably and repeatedly, by following the instructions in my video, Beginner's Guide to Compost, how to create fill-proof compost in 18 days or something like that. Do that, and you will literally have the best fodder for your garden. Or if you're a little behind us in your planting journey right now, you also can use uncomposted straw as the like one of the layers in your Start a Lazy Garden from scratch. So you want to like turn your lawn into a garden bed, put down some cardboard, some mulch or branches or whatever else, and then put down a nice, hefty, thick layer of chicken coop bedding that's not been composted yet. Then put a little bit of native soil on top of that, plant into that native soil, and then by the time the little roots of your plants have reached down into that chicken manure, it will have had time to compost within that system, and like kind of, you know, everything will level out a little bit. But if you put chicken poop laden straw directly onto your garden bed, it will, like from tushy to table, if you will, it will burn your plants. So you don't want to do that. Tushy to table.
Tushy to table. That's a good book title right there. Or band title. Okay, Aussie ATC. This was asked about a half hour ago, but we try to get to them. Sometimes it just takes a while. As a new gardener, plant enthusiast, I've learned that I have a real problem with overwatering. What's the best way to wrap my mind around knowing when my plants actually need water?
Okay, if you've ever like been somewhere that the leaves are falling off the trees in the fall, and like the best example of this sound is like you pick up, if you want to jump in a giant pile of leaves, if you were to pick up a pile of those leaves and squish them, that noise, like if your plant isn't very close to making that noise, if you were to touch the foliage, you don't need to water. Like your plant is going to be looking like, hold on, I'm trying to think if there's like any, oh yeah, here we go. I put this little asparagus in the water thing upside down today, and you might notice that it's very droopy and very unhappy. Like your plant better be really, really, really sad looking like this, where it's like the leaves have started to like darken in color a little bit, and it's legitimately bending at a near 90 degree because it's so sad before it actually needs to be watered. You put some water in that little baby and it'll straighten right back up, and it'll be so happy. But instead of watering every day, like you can also just check your soil. Like if you think about, you've put your little seedlings in, imagine how deep how deep are their roots right now, depending on how big is that plant. And if you were to take your finger and just kind of scratch the soil around your plant, what you want is you want to like think about how deep those roots are. So let's say like this is the roots down here. So I want to scratch my finger, and if it's halfway down to where the bottom of those roots would be, if it's like moist to the touch, it's fine. But if you keep scratching and it's like dusty, then yeah, you really need a deep water. But one deep water once a week, as opposed to a lighter watering, like 15 minutes or 20 minutes every day or twice a day, is so much more beneficial for so many reasons. Because if you water your plant every day for just a little bit, all that water, first of all, is going to evaporate right off the soil very easily, but also all that water is going to sit right at the soil's surface. And so then those roots for the plant, they're all going to go directly outward right at the top of the soil. But if you make your plant like a little bit thirsty, I mean, shoot, if you're actually thirsty, you'll go like to great lengths to get a glass of water, right? So very similarly, our plants will go to greater lengths to get some water if they're feeling thirsty. But if we just baby them all the time and there's always water right there, nice cold ice glass of water, always within an arm's reach, they're going to be far less motivated to go get it themselves. And they're just going to expect that whatever this fount of ever giving water is going to just keep taking care of them.
Yeah. Not a question, but there's Jill.
Oh, hey, Jill. Oh my gosh. If you guys have not seen the video that we just did with Jill from Whispering Willow Farms, please go check it out. This is, I really don't like self-promotion, but this is some shameless self-promotion because it's actually not promoting myself at all. But Jill, the video that we did with Jill might be the best or one of the best videos that I've made in 10 years of making videos. And that's not because of me. It's because Jill is a fount of unbelievable knowledge, and she's relatable, and she's funny, and she's cool, and she makes everything that seems really hard seem a lot easier because she's just like, one of my favorite lines from the whole video is she's like, I was mentioning something about, you know, some people are worried to have guests over when there's dirty dishes in the sink, and literally like she didn't even have to think about it. She's like, if there's dirty dishes in the sink and that bothers you, here's the soap. And that's, yeah, she shows you how to make $100,000 in your backyard, even if you don't have a farm. And she encourages you not to get a farm because if you care about anything, you want to focus on it. So anyway, go check out that video. Also, hi, Jill. Wait.
And check out Jill's channel.
And
too.
check out, yeah.
Whispering Willow Farm.
At Whispering Willow Farm. There it is, right? Linked right there.
There you go. What are you going to say?
I don't know.
All right. Oh, we have a bunny question. This is the really important thing. Okay, so Empress Kia asks, how is your bunny? You're referring to Eugene, who is a previous star of our live streams.
She's coming back to the live streams. Don't worry. And I hope you're staying tuned in hopes of her coming back. That might be a bit of a reach.
Had to get through our first year of raising a human child.
Anyway,
to wrap our minds around having a live bunny in the back of our live streams.
But
there's only handle so much.
Eugene is thriving, and no thanks, and also no thanks to, and also the best thanks to Alexander for that, because I guess we probably can't figure out how to show that picture. The other day, Alexander loves Eugene, and his someone asked a few minutes ago about like, how are you raising your son to like have inheritance and care about this and all this? I think it's really important for kids to learn responsibility, and to take responsibility. And that starts at a really, really young age. At least it did for me. And I really appreciate the way that I was raised. So Alexander's not even turned 1 yet, but he has chores that he does every day. And granted, we do them together because he's a potato and he can basically not do anything. But we do feed Eugene, the bunny, together every single day. And he will not let me forget to feed the bunny. He also, at a very young age, learned how to open the bunny cage and has always, sometimes he needs reminders to be gentle and everything, which is why I say no thanks to and all thanks to. But Eugene is thriving. Thank you for asking, the bunny. And the other day, I was looking at some pictures on Adam's phone. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And there was legitimately a picture of Alexander inside of Eugene's cage. And he was like, listen, I went to the bathroom for 1 second and I came out and he was inside the cage with the bunny. And like, it's funnier if you could see the picture, which unfortunately.
I could pull it up.
No, it seems like a lot of work. Seems like a lot of work. But like, it's much funnier if you see the picture, because like the athleticism that it took for Alexander to get himself in the bunny cage is funny. But what was funnier is you were telling me that he kept hitting his head
Oh yeah,
and he was
he's
angry.
getting very angry at the cage for being in his way of his head.
Anyway, we love Eugene and Alexander so much, and the calf that Alexander made friends with during the polar freeze in February is also thriving, although inexplicably is still so small. Like, the calf is 4 months old now and looks like the day it was born, and he's very healthy and very cute. But yeah, in answer to all those questions, yes. Great.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Also, while you look for this, can I also say that this is a gift from our friends at 4 Jars. They make canning supplies, but someone just asked about Alexander, so I feel like this is like, anyway, I love this company for many of the same reasons as I love Redmond, because the people that make up the company are the company. And not only am I fully aware and confident in this to be true, but Luba prayed with and for us for Alexander to be born healthily and everything from the very, very beginning, and has also just like unprompted sent so many just like unbelievably thoughtful gifts for us and for Alexander. Oh yeah, yes. Sorry, the owner of this company. And anyway, we were just at the Homestead Festival this last weekend, and we saw her, and she told me a little bit more of her story. And I spent a good portion of my young childhood in Ukraine, and so our initial connection was that she was from a town very similar to very, very close to where I spent a lot of my childhood. And anyway, yeah, I love companies that are, I mean, every company is made up of real people, but there's a huge difference in companies that are made of people that truly care about every aspect of the thing, because like this is very much an amalgamation of themselves. And I mean, these guys are doing great stuff. So we love them. And
yeah.
Anyway, I literally didn't even notice this. They sent me this mug a while ago, and I didn't notice it until today. The whole point of this was that it literally says my name on it. They had my name embossed on the mug. And also, I really, really love their logo, which they just came out with a new line of canning jars, which are really awesome. And it has this logo on it. And like, I don't know why, but I've always seen like a picture very close to this of our family. And so I'm like,
well, it looks like there's 2 kids in there, so.
Well.
Looks like we better get to work. All right. Kaz1414 asks, how can I stop my chickens from eating everything I plant? My garden has no fence for them. Eat
the chickens.
I knew you were going to say something like that. I thought you were going to say don't have chickens.
No. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Like, you know, if finances are not like too tight to prohibit this, I would really highly recommend getting Premier One, the company that makes the electric netting that we use, and the wire, like the poly wire that we use for all of our animals and stuff. They have this actually this really great little perimeter fence that I guess isn't even supposed to be for gardens, but the minute that I saw it, I was like, oh, this fence is the perfect garden fence to keep your chickens out. So, you know, I would highly recommend something like that if it's not too financially, prohibitive. Otherwise, literally just put any kind of obstacle that you can possibly put in their way, and then clip one wing, which doesn't hurt them, to stop them from jumping over it. But like, chickens and gardens don't mix. I don't know who started that rumor in the first place, but I feel like there's a special spot in hell waiting for them. Is that too extreme?
No. It's appropriate. Okay. Carrot question. Lydia Seebeck asks, how much do you grow carrots, Anne? Do they grow to full size in ground?
They should. And how many carrots can one? I don't know. I was going to try to make like some poem or something from that, but carrots are hard to grow. So if you're having like difficulties with them, then you're in good company. I will say that right off the bat. We actually like the first problem that people have with them is getting the seeds to germinate. And More Than Farmers, Michelle gave us a really helpful tip that absolutely did help me improve my carrot game this year, which is when you're putting your carrot seeds out in your beds, like plant them like you normally would, and then cover them with a board, and that'll create darkness, which helps the seeds to germinate, but it also like helps keep the moisture in the soil, which also helps them to germinate. And check under the board every couple of days to see when you start seeing little seedlings emerge, let them emerge. But yeah, they're not easy, but usually the biggest problem people have is that they'll grow tons of greens up top, which means that you have too much nitrogen in your soil. That happened to me the first year I grew carrots. I planted them in basically like full-on cow manure that had basically not been composted at all. And I was like, oh my gosh, these carrots are going to be so big, because their greens were enormous, like taking up the whole bed. And then I pulled them out, and like you had like this many greens and a carrot like this big. And so if you're not succeeding with carrots, try again. But if you're getting enormous greens in this, maybe do a soil test and see what you can fix, because usually if root vegetables aren't making big roots, and the days to harvest, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, is very important to look at. So like some carrots are like 55 days. So wait 55 days, pull up a carrot. If it hasn't carroted yet, it might be a soil issue, or maybe give it a couple more weeks. But I will say, what I'm not doing is I'm not planting any carrots right now until I'm ready to plant my fall harvest. So we just pulled our spring carrots, and I don't plant a lot of spring carrots, just enough to get me through the summer, because carrots that are grown in heat taste way worse than carrots that have had a chance to get a little chilly, because carrots really, really like a little cold weather. So the best thing I can recommend, for lots of reasons, if you're in a climate similar to ours, is plant your carrots in August, September, November, or I forgot a month there. Plant your carrots in August, September, October-ish, and then leave them in the ground all winter long, and they'll get really sweet. So you can pick them in the spring, and they'll be delightful. Plus, then you don't have to worry about storing them over winter, because the soil will do that for you.
Do you want to do that one?
No.
Okay.
I mean, we could, but like that's another conversation for another day.
Okay. How about that one?
I mean, actually, we really could do that one, and I have
No.
Okay, sorry. What was the question?
Is that like the same one right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, and I can.
No.
Okay, then like give me something to say, because no one wants to watch us debating about which
All right. How about that one?
Okay. How do you grow artichokes outside their normal zone? That is a great question, and I'm so glad you asked it.
Eventually, we'll answer a question.
I have been trying to grow artichokes outside their zone for 7 years, and my first baby, and by the way, I saw another one today. My second baby artichoke just emerged.
Oh, it hasn't been eaten yet?
Well, no, it's never the top part that gets eaten. It's always the bottom part that gets eaten. And that's the worst, because you don't see it coming. Anyway, the way to do it is, I'm going to be honest, it's really hard to grow things that are outside their zone for so many reasons. They're going to be more pest and disease prone, because they're already at a disadvantage. But the real answer to every question about growing anything that's hard is work on your soil game first. Like if you have healthy soil, you can push the limits so far beyond what conventional science will tell you can do. Because I'm growing, the number of things out there that I am successfully growing, despite local farmers almanacs, seed packets, and other things telling me that I absolutely shouldn't be able to be growing, is insane. So you can break rules if you have really healthy soil, but it has to start with really healthy soil. And then the other thing is, you find whatever variety is the most tolerant of your growing conditions, and then you grow that variety. So for example, I have an enormous amount of success with figs. I don't even try to grow fig trees as trees. I don't try to prune my fig bushes to be fig trees because I know for a fact that that is not going to work here. By the way, all figs and fig trees can basically, like, if it's a bush, it could also be trimmed to be a tree, but like, it's not going to work here. So we don't do that. So I grow all of my figs, regardless of the variety, as bushes here, and it works great.
Cool.
In case that was unclear, it's because a lot of the fig tree varieties don't grow in this zone. Okay.
Speaking of growing zones, Kaz1414 again asks, how can I keep my plants alive with a heavily humid climate, and which plants are recommended for it?
That's a great question, and it's one that I'm going to just say, hop on the Google machine and type in your growing zone, or if you don't know what your growing zone is, type in your zip code and say which plants are best suited to this climate.
What are your favorites in the humid environment?
Here I'm going to kind of just like revert back to this year. I'm growing a whole bunch of things that I like grew up eating and loving in Asia that it never occurred to me really that I could grow here because this isn't Asia, although this is a very similar climate, especially right now, to Asia. And so, for example,
like Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And like Taiwan.
Yes, Southeast Asia. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm growing a whole bunch of ginger, galangal, turmeric, and other things that, again, just I was growing turmeric before, and I grew some kinds of ginger before, but like just didn't occur to me that I could grow the whole bevy of Thai spices here. And so now I am, and it's exciting because you know, watermelons thrive here, okra thrives here, sweet potatoes thrives here. Most things that I like is actually because I grew up eating them. Grow here. And I caught myself there because it turns out Adam has told me I'm a very picky eater, which I don't agree with. But, you know, he has said that I'm a picky eater, but it is also probably the result of I will eat anything a few times, but as a cook, I'm not going to cook things I don't like. And because I cook the majority of our food, sometimes we go out to eat and someone else cooks it differently, and it's not as good.
Okay.
That's a weird way to answer the question, but here we are.
Okay, so Cindy Irish Stone from Facebook asks, how long do you keep goat manure in the compost pile before using it?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. First of all, I don't keep anything in the compost pile longer than it needs to be kept there unless I'm just specifically unless I no longer have need for compost, I'm just going to let it sit and age in place. Because aged compost, the longer it ages, the more that it has, opportunity to kind of mellow out. But if you're in a hurry, same rules for chicken straw and chicken manure go. Pop it in an 18-day Berkeley style compost pile. Turn it every couple days. Keep that temp hot, and then sift it out and put it on the garden. Goat manure is very innocuous. It's not nearly as good as rabbit manure or alpaca manure, but it is in that same vicinity of goodness, especially if it's been even slightly partially composted.
This is an interesting one. I'll be curious to see what you say, actually, even though we don't live
That's okay. I have
in
a
a
lot
desert. This is an interesting
Though it feels
question.
like it.
So RavQ124 from YouTube asks, so I bought 8 acres of pure desert. What would be your advice on how to start making the first acre growable?
Get on YouTube and watch the video by the TED Talk that Alan Savory did on I'm sorry, like English just left my brain, but like reforesting the desert. It's not actually that, but it's like, just look at the TED Talk by Alan Savory. Because ironically, he will tell you in that TED Talk in a much more beautiful way than I will say in this moment, basically the same things that I'll say is that if you add, like, sand drains water, and like, you want to be able to maintain moisture, and the way that you do that is by adding organic matter back into it. So go to whatever links you can possibly go to become a free dump site for any kinds of organic matter. And I'm not saying like organic matter being like things you go buy that are organic. I mean, literally something that was once alive that is now less alive than it was before. Dead bodies. Just kidding. Like, like arborist mulch. Like, sandy areas tend to be places where people also have really well kept lawns. Contact every landscaper you can find and ask them if you can become a free dump site for all their grass clippings. Like, put all of that stuff, like, just literally start dumping it and piling it on top of everything that you're doing. And that, like, over time, it will become better at retaining moisture. It will become, like, you will literally wake the sand back up and make it alive, because this is literally how they're taking desertified lands in Africa. Like, I don't know if most people know this, but if a lot of us think about what Africa is, we think about what we saw in, like, what's that Disney movie?
The Lion King?
That one. Yes. I don't know what that sound was. It was supposed to be a lion's roar, actually. But anyway, we think about we think about them prancing around in the sand. But the thing is, Africa was not always like that. I mean, like, certain small parts were, but most of Africa was a vibrant grassland for most of human history. And it became desertified because of poor agriculture practices, for lack of, I don't want to oversimplify it. But anyway, all that to say, if you have a desert and you want to turn it back into a forest, the first step is adding organic matter and then keeping that organic matter wet enough for long enough that the good guys of the soil can come back into it. And actually, I'm going to take this quick moment to just do a shameless plug for something that I'm really excited about and really, really proud of, like, taking part in creating. But okay, probably the biggelse issue with most people's soil is that because of poor management, too much tilling, planting too many things on it, or wherever else, like, it's not necessarily that you need more fertilizer or that you need to add all this stuff to it. It's literally that the nutrients are probably there or partially there, but they are not accessible to your plants. And if there is, I mean, I always say,
by the way, she's holding a canister of Redmond soil microbes concentrated probiotics.
Yes.
There's a lot of people listening.
Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you. I forget about this. Well, I mean, I forget about how to communicate like a human, like, regularly, even if it's not in this circumstance. But anyway, okay. So I generally am very buy that for your things. But I will say that if you're struggling with your garden, you want it to be better. Sorry, there's just a military helicopter observing our property.
Well, we have the doors, while the windows are open, the fans on, because for people who are just joining now,
it's 102 degrees.
Our AC is broken down here.
Okay. But anyways, all that to say, the thing is, for most people, most places, it's not that you need to till more. It's not that you need to, like, buy a whole bunch of stuff, do a whole bunch of stuff. But the two things that I will say that you do absolutely need to do is you want to take a soil test if you're unsure about what you have. And that soil test might tell you that you need to add certain things. Like, a lot of soil, like, it might tell you that you need more nitrogen, which sounds like you need to buy more fertilizer. But for most of us, in most places, that nitrogen is actually there. It's just not accessible to your plants. And the things that make it accessible to your plants are life inside your soil. And for some of us, we are, in a hurry and we want to speed up the process. And this is the fastest, cheapest way, even though this is not, necessarily cheap. I think this is like $60 or something like that. So, like, it seems like it's really expensive because it's a little thing. But I will say that we have a 30-acre farm, and I use this every week all over our farm, but you have to use so little of it that, I mean, this is still 90% full after months of using this. So all that to say that as long as you provide the components of the right buffet to speed up the decomposition process and make the nutrients that your plants actually need available to your plants, the single best thing you could do to do that is to inoculate your soil with the microbes that are going to make those nutrients available. So basically everything that's good for our gardens is the pee pee and poo poo of bugs and insects and microbes and mushrooms. And the fastest way to get the good guys to do the good Lord's work for us is to spray a little bit of this on it. And I mean, you can achieve the same result for free if you're willing to take 2 or 3 seasons to feed the microbes that you want and to learn about that stuff. Or you could literally just get a little bottle of this and use it for 3 or 4 years. And it's a one-time purchase that'll massively change how things go.
3 things.
Okay.
First of all, another shout out to the moderator tonight. Just want to make sure. Cam, Four Brothers Farm on YouTube. Go check him out. It's a great YouTube channel. Homesteading channel. Second thing is thank you to the sponsor of all of our live streams for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Redmond. You get 15% off. Use the code ANIVALTRADES.
Those microbes that I was just talking about are from Redmond.
Third thing, back to that last question. I know it's not a desert, but it does remind me a little bit of Ryan and Jasmine's farm.
They're farming on solid bedrock.
Yes, and this is the video we released last month.
Yes.
They're farming on solid bedrock. And the way that they, without spoiling the video, the way that they did it was by just adding tons of organic matter in the form of wood chips and rabbit poop and
anything else they can get their hands on.
And let's say clay, I think, to stop the drainage.
Well, because they have clay on the thing. Yeah, so like Tennessee has a lot of clay in the soil, so they've literally been like going around harvesting clay to stop water from running away from. So like a lot of us are like, man, like here, our clay, or I mean our soil when we moved here was solid clay, which made it impossible to plant or grow things because too much clay is a bad thing. But in a situation where you can't keep water on your property, clay plus organic matter is a great thing. And so, yeah, check out that video. What's it called?
It's the one. Yeah, I don't know. It's like 2 videos ago.
2 videos ago.
It's
I mean, we toyed with calling it farming in hell.
I think actually that's what it says on the thumbnail.
Yeah, because it truly, like, I've known Ryan and Jasmine. I love them so much as friends and people, but also their stick-to-itiveness to have transformed their land the way that they have in the last 5 years is so admirable. And
they're great people.
Yeah, great. And it's also a great video, so go check it out.
Yeah, and along those lines, then after that we made the Jill video, which is like a farm
Whispering Willow Farms tour.
And we're gonna keep doing more of them. I think that the response from those has been enormous, and so you can expect more of those this summer.
Well, whether the response is great or not, the reality is that
we love doing it, though. They're like so much fun.
Well, I mean, the thing was when we struggled with infertility and loss for 12 years, and like my one and only goal for that whole time was to become a mom, and like all of this was all pointing towards becoming a mom someday anyway. But the thing is that, like, you know, everything you've seen on this channel up to this point was like everything I was doing to try to prepare for that. And what's funny is we got here and I was like, we were a little less prepared than we thought. And so I'm not too good to ask for help. In fact, like, I think it's the best thing you can do. Often asking for help is a gift you can give to some other people. Like, I've always loved being helpful to other people, but I used to have a hard time asking for help because I didn't want to burden other people. But like, as good as I feel helping other people, my dad challenged me a couple years ago when I was in the midst of some real the real pits, he was like, hey, why aren't you asking for help? And I was like, well, I just don't want to inconvenience people. He's like, well, how does it feel to help other people? And I'm like, great. He's like, well, then don't rob other people of that joy. So anyway, I've tried really hard to take that advice to heart, and I've gotten a lot better at asking for help. And so in that, we have looked at pretty much everyone that I admire from a relationship standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a kid rearing standpoint, from a farming standpoint, and we've asked them for help, and in hopes that like the questions that I have for them would be the same as some of you might have. And because we have the honor and the privilege of having the excuse to like be like, we could make a YouTube video about this, and so more they might say yes to us, like it feels selfish not to share. So anyway,
so yeah, we got more coming, and
yeah, we've done a few, and we have more coming, but the ones we've done so far, we did More Than Farmers with Michelle and Cody, who we really admire. They have 4 kids, and they're raising like 99% of their food on 1/8 of an acre in their 1/8 of an acre garden. And then we did Ryan and Jasmine, who Ryan and Jasmine have helped me out of 1,000 different binds. And like, I loved them so much before we went to interview them. And then I saw so much more of who they were by like seeing the world through their eyes and their farm. And I now love them so much more. They have 5 kids and are running a business and are running a farm that is so much harder to farm than any farm I've ever been to in my life. And then we went to Jill's, who has 4 kids,
Whispering
Willow Farm, and she's doing that. And we're going to Sean, my Mindful Farmers, next.
Yep.
And we've got some other ones coming down the pike. So yeah, really thankful for their willingness to let us come and invade their space and make their lives a living hell for a day or two while we try to make a video there and tolerate all my squirrels in my brain while I ask them all the questions and try to learn all the things. Anyway.
All right. Back to the gardening Q&A.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I contributed to that derailment. Let's talk about tomato blight. David Jenkins asked, what is the best thing for tomato blight?
Easy answer is soil health. And that's a cop-out, I realize. I've planted my tomatoes in the same place every single year against all the advice. I've done the same thing with potatoes, which is also a big no-no, supposedly. 0 issues. Here's the thing, though. If your soil isn't top tier yet, that's okay. I'm not meaning to shame anyone by saying, like, oh, well, do this and then you'll just be fine. But like, if you're not there yet, if you haven't reached here yet, then try again next year. No, not at all. Blight is quite simply, it's caused by a fungus that's in the soil below. So if you think about like how that's going to spread, it's going to spread by water splashing, like water hitting that fungus and aerosolizing it and splashing it up onto your plant. So as much as you can minimize that as possible is going to be the answer to that. So like, first things first, put something down on the soil so that if you do get a really heavy rainfall, like there's a barrier between like the fungus that's in your soil and the leaves of your plant. So that's step 1, is put down some sort of barrier. That can be a barrier of grass clippings that don't have seeds in them, preferably if you don't want to, do, or leaves, or like sawdust or arborist chips, mulch, or anything like that. All of those things can be great when used correctly, and there's little nuances to how you would use each of those things, but putting down a barrier to make sure that you're not aerosolizing, that the heavy rain isn't aerosolizing that fungus is step 1. Step 2 is trim your plants and make sure that there's lots of airflow, because any negative fungus or any negative blight that we don't want is usually caused by a lack of airflow. So there's moisture that's getting trapped, and then there's heat, and then that's proliferating the problem. And so the more that you like trellis your tomatoes, make sure that they're well supported, and then trim up the bottom leaves as much as you can. And then the other thing is, if you then have done like putting down a barrier and you've increased the airflow and you've raised up the height of the leaves, the next thing is kind of an obvious one, I think, but it's worth saying, is then don't water them. Like if you're artificially watering them, don't do so from above in a way that's going to encourage splashing from that bottom up. And then also, if you have affected leaves already, remove those, get rid of them. Like I would actually tell you, you can put those in your compost pile, no problem, but just make sure that your compost is then, that you're composting correctly. So this is another shameless plug for that Create Fail-Proof Compost, our video about 18-day compost that's on our channel already. If you're composting things correctly, you don't have to worry about seeds, you don't have to worry about bugs, you don't have to worry about disease. If you're not composting things correctly and you're just kind of putting things in a pile and hoping for the best, then yeah, you're very likely proliferating fungus and disease that you don't want. So trim it, feed it, cover it, don't water from above. Don't let that splash up happen. Get rid of your extra foliage, make some airflow, let that stuff dry out. Stop watering as much, because actually, hilariously, if you actually want fruit on your tomatoes in the first place, whether you have blight or not, most people water their tomatoes so much that they're basically telling the plant all year long, it's time to make leaves. It's not time to make fruit. Fruit is the seeds of the plant. And so the only thing that's going to tell your plant it's time to make seeds is when there are weather signals from the outside that say, hey, like fall's coming, it's time to stop making solar panels and start making seeds. And so if we're watering our plants every single day, it feels like early spring all summer long. And the plant never gets the signal that it needs to actually put on fruit and to set that fruit. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
You're going to like this one. Debbie Hagapian Nance.
Hold, please. I have to go get a visual aid.
Okay, well, while you do that, I'll read the question. Do you have any hints for growing garlic the lazy way? She literally just left the room. Okay. And
I'm here still.
How do I get rid of too many weeds among the garden? I think she's gone to the garden to grab, I'm guessing. Oh yeah, her garlic right here. Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, the number of bugs on this window
this is impressive.
Because of the thing are amazing. But also there's a frog. This is so cute. Okay, so there's like Adam has like this beauty light because we have very different.
What it would look like without it.
And I was about to say we have very different colored skin. So like he looks like he is suffering from an illness, and I look like a beautiful Italian with my dark skin. Anyway, he has his vanity light there, but his vanity light is very, very bright, and it's pointing directly at a window right there. Anyway, there are 10 billion bugs on the window because of the light, but there's a frog sitting on the window going, whoa, and like literally getting the freest, best buffet of his entire life. And it's really hilarious. Anyway, I saw that when I went out to go get this. That's
amazing. Okay, so refocus. Garlic.
Garlic. Okay, so anyway, most peasants are growing garlic like this in their garden.
She's holding up a normal size garlic.
This is a regular human-sized garlic that you might get from the store or from another garden. But this...
Okay, now she's holding up a garlic the size of a baseball.
A grapefruit, if you will. Actually, this isn't even remotely the biggest garlic that I grew this year, but it's completely dark outside, and his vanity light blinded me trying to go out and find this. So, like, literally, I was feeling around. Like, it literally was like reading Braille trying to find this garlic. But the good news is there's lots of really big garlic. Anyway, I only did this. I guess this is the opposite of a humble brag because
there's nothing humble about this.
I just have been working really hard to grow bigger and bigger garlic every single year. And now I have. Well, I mean, I have every year. But like this year, when I pulled the first head of giant garlic out of the ground this year, I legitimately almost peed my pants laughing by myself.
Oh my gosh, there's a frog on the window.
Yes. There our like 7 frogs on the door, they're getting the buffet of your light. Anyway, all this to say, the answer to growing big garlic is first, improve your soil. It's absolutely worth it. And I really am not trying to be like sarcastic or talk down to anyone about that. Like genuinely, I would like, I mean, for I've been gardening, this is my 17th year. So if you want to calculate back to when I had brown hair, you know, that's how long I've been gardening. But when I first started, for the first 10 years I was gardening, I said, don't get a soil test. You don't need to test your soil. You can just look at what's going on and like with your plants, and it's easy enough. Anyway, I've fully and totally repealed everything I used to say about that now, because even though I knew how to compost, I knew like how to read weeds and how to read my plants. And like there was tiny little nuances of things that I was missing in my soil before I started testing it, that like now that I have tested it and amended and fixed those small things, it's like it's reaping huge benefits. And listen, I used to work on a fishing boat. I understand how force perspective works. I am not holding this one closer to the camera so that like it makes the tiny minnow that I caught look like the shark that I want it to be on my Hinge profile to get more views. Like this is legit a big A55 piece of garlic. And so the first tip is have good soil. And the second one is pick the biggest cloves from the biggest heads of garlic that you grew last year and plant those every single year. And every single year, you'll get bigger and bigger garlic. And there's a way longer TED Talk that no one wants to hear and that Adam's already rolling his eyes about. But like, you can start with seed garlic. And like, I obviously collected the seeds from this head honcho right here to plant as seed garlic next year. The only problem with seeds is they're called bulbils, which I like to call them bulbil baggins. And there's like, anyway, the problem with starting from seed as opposed to starting from cloves when you're planting your garlic is that it takes 3 years to get it to turn into a clove, which will eventually turn into a head. And a lot of people don't have that kind of patience. But if you don't have that kind of patience, I genuinely don't know why you're watching my channel in the first place, because in case you haven't noticed by now, lazy gardening isn't lazy at first. It actually requires kind of a lot at the beginning. But like, if you understand how compounding interest works, you put in a little bit of effort, a lot of bit of effort at the beginning. And as long as you maintain the bare minimum of the things you need to, and pay attention to the things you need to maintain,
it's a lot easier.
Pay attention to the things you need to pay attention to maintain over time. Every single year, your harvest gets better and bigger, and your garden gets easier to maintain. And so all that to say that this tiny grapefruit could be yours for the low, low price of some time, effort, and energy invested.
Yeah.
Also, my garlic is bigger than yours.
This is an interesting one. Okay, his Princess Boo Girl on YouTube asks, some people say you shouldn't plant certain things after harvesting something. Do you follow rules like that? If so, what should you or shouldn't you plant after onions?
LOL, absolutely not. First of all, that would require me to even remember what I had last planted. And I'm going to refer us all back to the peanuts I had planted not 7 days before. I then plucked them from the earth, forgetting that I'd planted them there.
There's a really funny story about peanuts at the beginning of the stream.
If you missed that.
Yeah.
But also, going back to soil health, I do not pay attention to any of those rules now that I know that I have very well balanced soil and like a decent mineral balance in my soil. But I will say that some of those rules are really good to pay attention to in the first and second years of your garden, especially if you're still on the train of using chemical amendments, fertilizers, if you're still tilling. Like all of those rules became rules because if your soil is unbalanced or unhealthy, or it's constantly being disrupted, or basically all of those mean the exact same thing, your soil is unhealthy, then then you're already at a disadvantage when you put something in the ground. So things like onions do technically have allelopathic properties. By the way, so do sunflowers. So does walnut in some circumstances. And that'll make it harder for some things to germinate or some things to thrive. But I literally very recently just found out that supposedly you're not supposed to plant garlic or onions alongside asparagus. And I'm sorry, do I need to go get my elephantitis of a garlic back out? And also my asparagus is very regularly that big around and the juiciest, tenderest thing you've ever put in your mouth. So supposedly.
Oh, look, Michelle and Cody.
Hey! Oh, Michelle and Cody, More Than Farmers, are popped in to say goodnight.
Oh.
We missed them at the Homestead Festival, which we were just at. Do you want to give some highlights of the Homestead Festival?
Homestead Festival was great.
Hosted by our friends Rory and Rebecca Feek in Columbia, Tennessee.
We hung out at the Redmond booth most of the weekend.
Yep.
And you gave a very good talk. Your talk was it was kind of like the big lie of homesteading video, but more expanded upon. It was very great. I enjoyed it very much. The feedback from it was very good.
One really funny moment from that talk, though, by the way, was I was in the intro of my talk, I was talking about something, the whole thing is basically it's a long form version of our story.
Yeah.
Hopefully mixed in a way that makes sense to other people, that reflects their story as well, as far as I was really into this thing and he was not. And for a lot of our marriage and a lot of the journey, I was dragging him along, not unwillingly, but just unhealthily. And in that, hilariously, I had in the intro of the thing, I was showing this, I was saying this really heartfelt thing about how Adam has always supported me. And then I was and I looked up to where he had been sitting when I started the talk. And I was and I was telling him, I was talking directly to him in the talk, but he wasn't there anymore. And I was and so I was and Adam's been my greatest supporter. And I was and apparently he's left.
Well,
and everyone thought that was really funny. I gotta
explain myself. I actually I kind of got nervous for you because we'd helped rehearse a little bit before the talk, and we kind of discussed my feedback to you, and
I didn't take it,
and a few things, and then I realized 5 minutes into the talk, I just got really nervous for you, so I was I just gotta go walk around.
Anyway,
and then as you point, and then as soon as I got up and left, you pointed right at my seat, and there was nobody there.
Yeah, it was really funny. I mean, it probably is one of those moments where we're describing something and it's you had to be there, but it was truly so funny to both of us and also to the whole audience, because I literally was genuinely trying to point out such a good thing, and I hadn't noticed he left yet, so I pointed directly at his chair, and it's the only empty seat in the house.
Husband.
It's the only empty seat in the house, and I was oh well, he's gone. So
anyway, so that was that. We're pretty much will be at the Homestead Festival pretty much every year. We did the Homestead Conference back in April. That was awesome
in Waco, Texas, which was super fun. So let me just quickly make a quick point that everyone has asked me to get my act together and to tell them where we're going to be.
It's
getting a little better. It's getting better every year, but I am notorious for just I've always focused. I'm what is directly in front of me is the thing that I'm focusing on. And so it's really hard for me to think ahead and to my mom will ask me have you bought tickets for, or have you packed for, or have you thought about packing for? I'm whoa. That's 3.5 weeks from now. My greatest asset, and also one of my greatest weaknesses, is that I'm very, very good at fully immersing myself in exactly what's in front of me right now. It's why it's really hard to reach me. It's why I can forget that anything else exists. But
yes. So, anyways, the next.
Oh wait, all of that was in service of a point. Is that we're going to try to get better about telling you about where we're going to be, but we're absolutely going to be in Waco again next year. It's at the end of April. You can look at the Homestead Conference Wait, is that what it's called?
Mhm.
And then you can we'll absolutely be at the one in Columbia, Tennessee every year, Homestead Festival. And then we'll absolutely be at the one in Idaho, which is the Modern Homesteading Conference every year. I'm going to that in a couple weeks.
And then if you're in Canada.
If you're in Ontario, we are actually doing keynote. So I can't guarantee I'll be there every year because, once you've done a keynote, I don't know if they keep asking you back, but I'll be doing a keynote at a festival in Ontario on my birthday
South
on September.
Coast. Yeah, September 19th.
September 19th. So that's, for those of you who are complaining that it's not on my website, sorry I forgot what the password is. I haven't been able to log in for like 2 years. So here we are. I can't update it.
Okay. Okay, back to the gardening. By the way, thank you to Cam from Four Brothers Farm for moderating. And thank you to our sponsor, Redmond,
who we love. Discount code Annabelle Trades.
Annabelle Trades 15% off. They've been
often free shipping.
Sponsoring this live stream for about 2 years now. Okay.
Also, literally, Redmond touches every aspect of our lives. And I mean, this is they don't pay me to say this, but I mean, literally.
I'll put up the.
Yeah, I mean, from the toothpaste that I use to what I put on Alexander's bee stings and mosquito bites, to what I'm giving my cows to help them with their fly pressure, to the salt that we use in our home, to the health products that that have transformed our fertility journey. All of that stuff is all encompassed under a company that really cares and about their products, obviously, but far more importantly, they care about people. And it's just been a huge pleasure to work with that company. And the minute that making YouTube videos doesn't make sense anymore, I will be banging down their doorstep and asking them for a job, because it's a company that actually, one of the I talked to an employee from Redmond this weekend because we were hanging out in the Redmond booth. She had 50 jobs before. And I was just teasing her, asking her questions and stuff. But I was like, so is Redmond it for you? And she's like, yeah. 100%. It went from a teasing, funny conversation to deadpan, yeah. And I was like, why? And she's like, because they care about what happens to everyone who touches this company. And I'm like, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the gardening. Jason Pez asks, great videos. Any tips for brand new gardener planting in a suburban backyard with a 3-year-old? Fun things to grow that are almost foolproof in hot and humid conditions there in South Texas. We are considering sweet potatoes, which I know you have a lot to say about, though it would be fun to visually see colorful fruits above the ground.
Sweet potatoes, watermelon, okra, all are basically fail-proof in that environment. Would highly recommend all those things if you like them. I mean, I basically survive on watermelon. I love okra. Some people don't, but sweet potatoes, you can eat the greens as basically the same way you'd use sauteed spinach or any other green in any kind of cooked dish. You can also, don't worry, it's just an enormous moth / a beetle the size of a hummingbird.
Gosh, that thing is huge.
Welcome to the tropics. Anyway, you can eat the greens. You can also eat the roots. And if you have decently well-drained soil, sweet potatoes are going to thrive. Yeah.
That's a bird.
I said it's the size of a hummingbird. It's a
beetle.
It's a rhinoceros beetle, in case you want to look at Alexander's bug identification guide.
Zap it?
No. That's going to create a barbecue. Come on. These are great decomposers. They're really good for the soil.
Yeah, we should do it on live stream either. Okay.
PETA is going to show up at our door.
Okay.
Also, other things that are really easy to grow. I mean, tomatoes in that climate, pretty decently easy. I mean, the reality is, fruits. Some fruits, but it really depends. Adam, you are supposedly a farmer. Put on your farm hat. It's okay. That is simply a rhinoceros beetle. It's not going to bite you. might bite you. Actually, they have pretty big pinchers. It's actually the size of a lobster claw.
That's
you could probably dip it in butter.
All right. Do you want to talk mushrooms?
Always.
Okay. I'll give you permission to talk one mushroom question.
Are you going to set a timer?
So Karen Roger Benton from Facebook asks, I bought wine cap mushrooms and have raised beds as well as rows made the way you taught me with the cardboard sticks, compost, etc. I just don't know what to do with the mushrooms. The rows and raised beds are covered in wood chips. I think this was asked a while ago.
This is a great question,
yes.
And I'm sorry if you have left and only everyone else now has to hear my TED Talk about mushrooms. But the answer to your question is like, so basically I have suggested that everyone who's doing this kind of gardening buy wine cap mushrooms. The question I get asked probably more than any is like, can I use any kind of mushrooms? I really want to grow lion's mane. And the reality is, no, you can't grow lion's mane like this. Like, wine cap mushrooms are the one deliciously edible mushroom that will thrive in garden conditions and also help your garden thrive as well. And so basically, wine cap mushrooms will make mycelium, which is the white stuff. So if you've ever like reached into your garden and like found a handful of white and been like, oh my gosh, this is so gross, and thought it was mold, and then like gotten really concerned and wanted never to garden again. Good news of great joy, that white mold is the tiny little feet of mushrooms that are actually going to help your soil retain more moisture, have better nutrient sharing with all of your plants. Like, there's so many good things that happen if you use the right kind of fungus amongst the rest of your plants. And the right kind of fungus is wine cap mushrooms. So in that, the way that you get wine cap mushrooms mycelium into your garden is you buy a little block of mushrooms. And I highly suggest you get it, like, you can get it if you have a mushroom farm near you that sells wine caps, you can get it from them. But the easiest thing to do is to spend $30 and get it from North Spore Mushrooms. I think that they even have a discount code attached to Anival Trades. I have no idea how affiliate things work. I don't even try to do that. But like, I think you'll get a discount if you use the code Anival Trades. Anyway, what will arrive is a little plastic bag that's a block of white looking sawdust that's icky and probably smells bad. And what you do is you cut that open and you break it all up into tiny pieces and you spread it all around. If you want it in your garden pathways, great. It'll help your garden pathways to decompose better. It'll help them to retain moisture. If you want it in your garden beds and you're okay with some mushrooms growing up and around your plants, which you should be because they're going to help your plants thrive, sprinkle some in there. And the thing is that you basically, for most gardens, you only ever need one bag of that one time. And if you're doing things the way that I tell you to do them for lazy gardening, back to Eden gardening, whatever, like where you're constantly adding more organic matter, the mushrooms eat the organic matter. They help break it down. They help make the nutrients within that organic matter more available to your plants. They help your soil to retain moisture better. And bonus of all bonuses, when it's really hot, humid, and moist, you get free little protein umbrellas that show up in your garden that you can slice up and fry up in some butter and garlic, along with some of those disgusting shards and other things you grow in your garden. And you've got more nutritional value and nutrient density that'll pack a huge punch. So what was the question? Oh, yeah, that's what to do with them. Crumble them up and spread them around and then let them eat the wood chips. And I kid you not, like, you don't have to be precious about this. Like you can literally just crumble up the thing and then just like confetti it around your garden and it'll work. As long as you don't do it on like a hot, dry day and then never water it. But even then, the next time it rains, it'll start spreading on its own. So confetti.
Love it. Oh, look, there's somebody who saw your talk.
Oh, Hallelujah Farm. I'm so glad. I can barely read, so I'm like not even going to try. I was like,
they just said they loved your talk at the festival.
Thank you.
Okay, well, there's another mushroom question. You've already expended your mushroom
Quota
for the evening.
This is like an ongoing fake argument that Adam and I have when we're filming. Is that like
No, it's not. What are you gonna
fake
say?
argument? It's just that if there's even a whisper of a mention of mycelium or mushrooms, he immediately is like, no, because he like it's like I just don't want to have to cut out 45 minutes of footage of you talking about mushrooms that no one wants to hear.
It all goes back to the mycelium network. That's the joke.
It does. I mean, it's not. That is correct.
I know. It's great.
But also, I mean, in his defense too, poor Adam. Like, I mean, by the way, a really good friend of mine actually texted me this morning and was like, holy cow, your videos have gotten so much better recently. Really? And I was like, yeah, that's because Adam got less afraid about telling me to shut my yap.
Oh, no.
I mean, in a loving way. And it like, you know, because we used to fight when he did that and like it was not as fun. But like now I just know that it's like, I mean, I always knew that everything Adam touches turns to gold. And like, I always knew that if he got involved in the YouTube channel, it would get better. But it just took us a long time to figure out how to like work together in a way that was fun and made it better without it also creating some pain points for both of us because we're both very stubborn people who both really have a very strong idea of like what's the right thing to do in every circumstance. But Adam makes the videos so much better. I mean, like nice like I would love to invite any of you to go back to any of the videos that I released in like 2021 when I was doing things like on my own. And like you can watch those and it's a joke compared to what we're doing now. Like the information's there, but like I didn't care about sound quality or lighting. I cared about like getting the information out. And like Adam adds a lot of entertainment value.
I like those old videos though. They're very earnest and authentic. And it's just it's you. It's great.
But also like our last video that is also Jurassic Park themed is hilarious. And like it actually I feel
the second 2 videos ago.
Yeah, 2 videos ago.
Not Jill's part.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that
would be wild.
Anyway, but like I feel like you have a way of like pulling out the best in me. Like when it works really good. Like I said, everything you touch turns to gold. The songs we used to write together, like when you put your touch on them, they got way better. Also, they were like, you know, followed a human metronome and things.
Yeah, well, someday we'll play that song. Okay. Only because this person is
really wants to talk about jumping rooms.
About and please, someday will you address jumping worms?
I would love to. I'm so glad you asked that question. Here's the thing, folks. Please don't buy worms for your garden. If you're buying worms online, it's almost certainly going to be a very, very invasive version of worms that you don't want. So people are like get really into vermicomposting because they don't want to learn how to make a real compost pile inexplicably, and you know 1,000 other things. But like you don't want to buy worms, and if you do, you want to make sure that they're Native American, not Native American, but native to America earthworms. And not Asian jumping worms, because Asian jumping worms do the work of, remember I said earlier that basically great soil is the result of the poo-poo and pee-pee of all bugs and microbes, and worms are no exception to that. But Asian jumping worms are generally what you get when you order a bag or a box or whatever they come in these days of red wiggler or wriggler worms, and you don't want those. So please don't buy them. Don't put them in your garden. And if you're worried that you might have invasive worms in your garden already, you probably do because they're very invasive. And the way that you tell the difference between an earthworm and a Asian jumping worm is that if you hold the earthworm up, it's going to be like kind of like Winnie the Pooh, what's that donkey Eeyore is like, wom, wom, and it's going to just like kind of like flop around. And if you pick the jumping worm up, it's going to be like ding, 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 ding. And that's how you tell the difference. So I don't know if that's what you wanted me to address, but
yeah, I guess.
Well, I mean,
we'll vote for them.
Sonora BVMS can tell me if that was what she wanted addressed, but hopefully it was.
We have our second garlic question of the evening, but I think I just
yes.
from the last one.
I'm so glad you asked. This is a huge problem for lots of people.
Nate Chen 2059 asks, do you have any tips on when garlic is ready to harvest?
Okay.
Or do you have tips?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, know what kind of garlic you planted. I feel like that's maybe superfluous information, but it's important because if you planted hard neck garlic or soft neck garlic, that's going to affect whether or not it puts up what's called a garlic scape. And a garlic scape is what turns into the bulbils or the garlic seeds that I was mentioning earlier. But that's all, like, this matters. Trust me. I'll tell you why. When your garlic first puts up a garlic scape, that garlic scape's going to like be all curly and soft and really flaccid at first. And that means your garlic's not quite ready, but you do want to actually clip that garlic scape because, first of all, pickled garlic scapes and also garlic scape pesto and garlic scapes in your pasta are very, very delicious. But also, you don't want the garlic to invest its energy into creating the head of garlic beneath the soil, not putting energy into seeds above the soil. So first of all, you want to clip that scape if it comes up. And second, after you've clipped that scape,
It says he has a hard neck, and he's going to harvest the scapes soon.
Oh, okay, great. So yeah, you know that the scapes are ready to harvest when they start being like curly Q-y. If they're straight, it's already a little too late, but it's like just definitely clip the scape and then pull the garlic. It's ready to go. But assuming that you have either hard neck or soft neck, and you've already clipped the scape if it's hard neck, soft neck doesn't grow scapes, but it comes up. When the leaves start to yellow, if not brown, you don't want the entire thing to have fully gone brown because then you're in danger of rotting, especially if you're in a really humid, wet climate like Tennessee. So I always, after waiting like a little too long because I was following online advice about waiting till it was like really yellowed and browned to pick. One year that it was especially rainy and humid here in Tennessee, I like rotted my garlic in the ground. And so I'm like a little maybe too eager to pick. But I would always rather that I pick a week or two too early, especially if I look at the forecast and there's a lot of rain and moisture coming, or if it's just humid and hot like it is right now. After you've started to see like some yellowing and browning on the stem and on the leaves, it's definitely ready to pluck from thine soil. And then you want to just dry off the dirt because, you know, dirt harbors soil harbors moisture. So you want to just like maybe put out in the sun for one day to like dry that off, shake off as much of the dirt as you can, and then put it in a well ventilated shelf type situation out of the direct sun for a couple weeks so that it can dry naturally. And the better that it dries naturally / cures, the longer it'll store. Much like potatoes and sweet potatoes, not that anyone asked, but that is a commonly asked question, is how do you cure them? Because it sounds like this fancy process.
This
but it's
person
not
has
actually
a funny channel name.
Okay.
But we'll...
This big A55 garden, I'm working on a perennial onion garden with Egyptian walking onions and potato onions. Have you tried doing this? I sure have. And I'm just going to be fully honest with you. Well, once you have Egyptian walking onions, you have them for life. So like, I'm not going to say that I'm not doing that anymore, but I like regular onions now much better because the walking onions don't make big onions themselves, but they do keep replanting themselves perennially. And so if that's your goal, glorious. Could you field things for 1 second? I'm literally about to pee my pants and have been for about 40 minutes.
Go for it.
Okay. Just going to leave this right here for 1 second.
I'm just
BRB.
going to answer all of the gardening questions.
Farmer Adam is on the case. And Adam, I actually would love you to answer some gardening questions. Please do.
I don't think I could if I tried.
No, you could. I think you've watched enough of our videos by now that you could.
No, I will take this moment just to remind everyone that we have a great moderator who is Cam from Four Brothers Farm. He's a good friend of ours, and he is helping moderate this stream. You should go check out the YouTube channel, Four Brothers Farm. It's a small homestead channel, and they make great videos. The other reminder I'll have is that the sponsor of today's video is Redmond. We are super grateful for Redmond and them sponsoring the channel. We actually just hung out with Redmond this weekend at the Homestead Festival at their booth and talked about all things there with the relight and all the Redmond minerals, and it was a really good time. We are super grateful for not just them as being a sponsor, but also the friendship from all the great people at Redmond. Super great. Okay. Nate Chen asks, I was just in a live garden stream called The Texas Gardener. The gardeners that inspired me the most were M.I. Gardner, Millennial Gardener, Epic Gardening, and James Pergroni. Yeah, those are all great channels, and we admire all of them. I think I know all of those channels very well. Would love to visit some of those someday, I think.
Some of them.
No, we love. They're all great.
No, they really are.
The thing about like the YouTube world is a small world, and we all support each other.
And
that's the way it should be.
We learn so much from each other.
Yes, that's the way it should be.
I mean, one of the first of all, Michigan Gardener has affordable seeds, and we love that and support that all day long, every day. And Epic Gardening was the first gardening YouTube channel. I don't know if you all know this, but I'm old. And so when I started gardening, YouTube wasn't around yet. It was library books, but Epic Gardening was one of the first YouTube channels that had useful information that I was like, oh, this thing called YouTube exists, and there are helpful things on it. I was
just wanting to say you were gone for 3 minutes, and we lost 20 viewers in the time that you were gone.
Well, I'm sorry that it takes.
It's their loss.
I drank a lot of water, trying to stay hydrated for this actual Swedish sauna of a live stream that we've just endured. And I also wanted to know that I did take one moment to live in awe of the wonder of nature, because that frog on the window has gained 4 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Since the last time.
I just want to say I was sitting in here trying to kill time, and I'm watching the counter go down and down as I ramble on about the Homestead Festival.
That was not 3 minutes, by the way. I don't think I've ever taken 3 whole minutes to pee in my entire life, but I did take a minute to see the frog is I kid you not, it's engorged with bugs that it's eaten literally lazily from the convenience of your vanity light there. Oh, by the way, I feel like this is a horrible time to mention that one time I walked past, Adam used to work in tech. Is this okay to tell?
Well, I don't know what you're about to say.
Your ring light situation?
Oh, yeah, I don't care.
Okay. Adam used to work in tech, and during COVID, he was first of all, let's just say that I knew that everything that Adam touches turns to gold, because Adam started at the bottom in tech and worked his way up to an executive position that his team that he started with was 3 people when he started, and it was he was running a team of over 5,000 when he left. So don't be humble. Just shh. Okay. All that to say that during COVID, he was doing all these meetings online. And one time I walked past his office after dark, and he was in a meeting with like a team in India, which like, okay, I've been to India. Like, I wouldn't feel like I necessarily needed to put on the show that Adam apparently did, but he had 4 ring lights. Ring lights. I have been an influencer for 15 to 17 years now. I do not and have never owned or used a ring light. Proudly.
Look good. Look good, feel good.
Yes. Anyway, I walked past his office, and like, by the way, this is before Adam even had his like Adam of No Trades fake social account.
By the way, I came up with that, so
I'm not a jerk, even though actually everything about this story makes me.
By the way, if you want to watch GeoGuesser live streams, you can go to my new YouTube channel.
Okay. Well, speaking of things that Adam touches that turn to gold, Adam doesn't do anything half-heartedly. Like, he's either so good that it's like not fun to play with him at everything he does, or he just doesn't do it at all. And a while back, Adam started suddenly becoming interested in my farming journey in a way that he had never previously been, though we in fact live on a farm. And he was asking me questions about local trees and grass. And after I'd given him multiple multi-hour TED Talks about these things, because like, thank you for asking. I've been literally waiting. Like, the dream of these live streams is like, I literally sit around twiddling my thumbs in life, just waiting for someone to ask me a question, because I have so much to say about everything that you have to ask. But anyway, for the first time in our entire marriage or life, Adam started asking me questions about things I actually knew about. And like, I'd spouted off things. And then it suddenly occurred to me that he'd never asked those kinds of questions before. And I dumbly asked, like, hey, why are you asking about grass and trees? And it turns out because he'd recently started playing a game called GeoGuesser, which is it drops you off in the middle of nowhere with a photograph, and you have to tell where in the world Carmen Sandiego is based on the photograph. And so he suddenly became very interested in learning all about fauna and flora, etc., everywhere in the world. And it wasn't but 2 months later that I found out he was in some sort of like world championship for people that live in their mom's basements.
I was watching them. I'm not that.
He's very good. Anyway, so he recently started a YouTube channel and it's very, very cool. I mean, like, there are so many like things that are awesome about this. First of all, like, I grew up living abroad. He grew up in the US. So when we traveled together, it used to always be like, I have to play tour guide. Now he knows so much more about every place, even that I've lived, that he can talk about it endlessly. He can plan trips. Like, he has travel advice, like, because he knows way too much about all this stuff. It's very cool. But the cooler thing is that he showed me why he got interested in the first place, and it was because of a YouTube channel where the guy gets emails from people that watch his channel, and it's like usually a photograph from like the 1950s or something like that. That it's like literally that's the only information they have, and they're like, tell me where this was taken, or tell me some information about this person that was lost or has been missing for 50 years. And he uses this same skill to tell people about like what's changed, what's there, like has helped people locate like missing people. It's very, very cool. Anyway,
that
Adam
channel is called GeoWizard, but he doesn't need help.
Yes, but Adam is now, he's going to be humble, but he's like very near that level. He can do it very quickly. I mean, it's amazing what he can do. So anyway, he does these live streams where I sit there and troll him the entire time while he is also just being brilliant. And it's called
Adam of No Trades.
Yes. And he picked that name, not me.
Yes.
and he does his.
I think I did stream like 3 weeks ago, but I changed to an older account that I have because it has a 20-year-old YouTube video on it. And
that has viral views, because on that 20-year-old video, it has what, like 400?
It's like 360,000 views or something.
Because it's of him playing guitar with his teeth, which, by the way, is another ridiculous skill that Adam is one of the most talented and best musicians ever. And I married him because he was holding me back in my musical career with zero musical talent.
True story. Anyways, thank you. That was very kind of you.
You can pay me the $50 you owe me later.
Yeah, your sponsorship fee.
Sponsored by Adam of No Trades. Maybe actually just make sure that we get the AC fixed, and that'll be payment
Adam,
enough.
do you go with Andy to see Jill at Whispering? Yes, absolutely.
Adam is the professional camera holder TM, and he did a very good job.
Yeah, we love it. I mean, we love doing those videos. They're so fun. Just getting off the farm. And
Adam loves leaving the farm. I myself would literally never leave again, but it's actually really good for me because the reality is I love the idea of leaving. I just don't. And when Adam is like, all right, we're leaving in 10 minutes. I'm picking you up. Are you wearing shoes? That's how we go see our friends. And then I actually get to experience and invest in the community that I truly do love and adore and am thankful for.
All right, we have time probably for one or two more. Why don't you look through that list, Danny, and pick one question. So we have, looks like 28 unanswered questions that we've.
Why do you have me looking at the questions? I can barely read it. It'll take me 20 minutes to read one question and decide if that's a good one or not.
Well, you give you one last chance.
To find the mycelium question? Or
yeah, to try to find the mushroom question. Here we go. Kara Lee 1980 asks, I have clover and spurge growing in my garden like crazy. What does that say about my soil?
It says that you have a perfect planting medium because, especially for greens, so if you are having a hard time getting rid of them, put some cardboard on top and a thin layer of something and then plant right on top of that, or take a couple weeks, put a tarp on top, kill it off, and plant all kinds of greens and things that'll grow in that, because clover is a nitrogen fixer, means, it's great stuff. So I'm going to be 100% honest and tell you that I'm not sure what spurge is. I'm going to Google it real quick, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that you probably have really fertile, great soil. And
well, while you do that, I will promote my channel in the chat.
Oh, please do. Oops, Spurgeon, different than Spurge.
This is my big moment right here to become a
interestingly
influencer.
Oh, well, interestingly, what Google shows as Spurge is actually the pictures. I'm seeing multiple pictures of purslane, which is actually edible and not really a problem. It's decent ground cover, but I don't actually think that that's actually what it is, given the situation that it's describing here. I mean, I don't know. I'll get the thing is, I don't ever want to. I'll never pretend I know something I don't. So I don't know what spurge is. I'll just say that publicly. By the pictures, it looks like it was putting purslane in the spurge family, which I would say that's not really a problem. It's probably a sign of good fertile soil you should plant in. But beyond that, I don't know.
Oh, look, it's Eric.
Eric. By the way, Eric Holges is one of the most talented musicians, songwriters,
and originator of our entire friend network in Nashville.
100%. The only reason we have friends is because Eric guilt tripped them into hanging out with us, and then it was too late and too awkward to break up with us. So Eric, we love Eric. Check out his music. He has some incredible solo stuff he's put out, which is amazing. In fact, I sing one of his songs, a part of one of his songs almost every single day, because I wear a hood when I feel uncomfortable, and it's like feeling good in my hood, in my raincoat and galoshes. But he also is one of the founding members of the band Delta Ray, which has literally won many awards, is fairly well known and famous and popular, and his little sister was one of the other lead singers of that band, who is also my best friend, delivered our baby Alexander, and recently had twins, and we love the Holgis family more than life.
I think that's a great note to end on.
Anyway. Oh, good. Oh, someone actually says Spurge is a purslane lookalike. You do not want to eat Spurge. So good thing. We'll end on that. Oh, someone also says might try beekeeping next. Actually, I've been keeping bees for 15 years, and Adam never likes me to talk about it because it's always super chaotic, and it's really hot to wear the bee suit while he's filming, so he doesn't want to do that. But we do, in fact, have bees, and would be happy to tell you about all the wrong ways to do it. And also, you can find some beekeeping videos on our channel if you want to look hard and be bored.
Absolutely.
Be bored.
Absolutely. Well,
thank you for your time.
To Cam from Four Brothers Farm for helping moderate this. Made this a lot better stream.
Thank you, Cam.
Me. And thank you to Redmond for sponsoring this live. They've been
Stay hydrated.
Great sponsor.
Stay
for
salty.
The last stay salty. For the last 2 years, they've been a great sponsor of this channel.
Thank you to Adam for tolerating everything and making everything better.
Yeah.
Thank you to the future AC repair people who will hopefully make our next live stream a lot less fanny and a lot more tenable for the people on this side of the broadcast.
Yes, I love it. All right.
And on that note, have the best night of your lives. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming.
Cheers.